aren't men getting married anymore? It's not because they hate love or they're against love. It's because the system is actually stacked against them. In 1960, 72% of adults were married, and today it's barely 50%. And among men under 30, it's pretty much nowhere. Here's why. Divorce courts, they'll take all of the man's money, they'll take the kids, they'll take the house. 90% of child custody goes to women, and men pay millions in child support and alimony every year. Then there's the happy wife, happy life culture where men sacrifice everything to keep the peace. Meanwhile, if a man wants traditional roles, it's labeled as toxic. So men naturally ask themselves, what is the upside? And for a lot of guys, there isn't one. It's not that men in general hate commitment. They hate commitment to a system that is designed to punish them for existing. Till marriage becomes a partnership and not a legal liability, men will continue to keep saying, no thanks. Do you think men are right to walk away from the thought of marriage, or...
She's saying the quiet part out loud. Risk versus reward. Men look at the system and ask one question, what do I gain? If the answer is stress, loss, and no control, they walk. It's not hate, it's calculation. Men aren't chasing marriage like before. Not because they can't, because they don't want to. And when you see why, the reactions start making sense real fast.
Single girls, I need you to listen up. I just found man heaven. Forget about bars and clubs. Your future husband is at the golf course. I already signed up to be coming here weekly. Happy husband hunting. Ladies, we got...
Husband hunting at the golf course sounds cute, until you realize those guys are there for peace, not pressure. Location doesn't fix attraction or mindset.
Alright, so everybody keeps telling me there's all these wonderful men out there that'll take you on dates and buy you flowers and do sweet things for you. And everywhere I look, there's all these men on TikTok that are talking about how they would love that kind of opportunity with a woman and all of these things. And I don't seem to understand why I can't find them. Can someone point me in the right direction, please? Thank you.
She's looking everywhere except the mirror. The men she wants exist. The problem is, they're not choosing her. That's the missing piece nobody wants to say.
Oh my god, there are just like no good guys out there. Everybody's terrible. Dating apps are the worst. Like every guy I meet is such an asshole. Like I just don't understand. Like I'm gonna be single forever because it's just so hard out there.
Want to know a secret where all the nice guys are? Yeah? Okay. Look around.
They're everywhere, okay? They're the ones that you put in the friend zone. They're the ones on your dating app inbox that you just ignored. They're the ones that have been repeatedly asking you out, but that you won't go out with because they don't make your stomach flip. Like that asshole traumatic guy that's unavailable, that's been stringing you along forever and that you can't let go of. So where's the real ownership that we have? It comes down to working on ourselves, getting over that toxic behavior so that we can see somebody for who they really are. Understanding that social media and the movies and everything has lied to you about what they believe a true relationship should look like. It's not as exciting as you think, but it can be secure and stable and wonderful. And there are amazing guys out there that would be a husband and a father and a friend to you. And you need to do the work so that you can wake up and actually see them.
This one actually admits it. Good men are there, just not exciting enough. Translation, stable loses to emotional roller coaster. Then later, confusion.
Why men these days don't want to get married. I'm going to go over this topic because I've seen it a lot. And ladies, before you come for me, realize that I'm going to do another video as well talking about why women want to get divorced because of the man. So follow me for that video. But in this video, I'm speaking about from a man's perspective why most men these days are not looking to get married as much as before. So the first problem that we have, which is a new age problem, is social media. Your girl, some girls, or most girls, are posting their body on social media, which is fine, you know, confidence, great. But the issue is there's a lot of girls that cross the line between posting too much for a man's liking. Because it's like no one wants their wife all over social media for everybody to see. I don't care what anybody has to say. A man does not want his wife's body and, you know, all these things on the internet for everybody to see. They just don't want it. The second problem is that most girls are just given all this attention and validation through social media because they're beautiful and young and all these things, and then it doesn't cause them to want to improve all the time because they're constantly being told that they're amazing, they're a queen, they're a princess, they're beautiful, all these things. You know, the harsh reality is someone has to be told things they don't want to hear to enable to improve. So a lot of girls now are just thinking that they're already queens to begin with and they don't need to improve, and that's just not attractive in the wife, you know. And the third problem, which I think is the biggest problem, which I'm noticing, which is so sad that the guys on this app are posting why they're frustrated, is that women are taking a lot but they're not giving as much, you know. They're caring for the guys in the beginning of the relationship and then it fades away, and then all they're worried about is taking care of the kids and they don't take care of their husband. You know, in my opinion, you know, your wife should crack you open a beer and give it to you when you're like stressed from a long day, or give you a massage. You know, because we have to take care of them as much as they have to take care of us too. And I find that that just fades away. You know, and it goes both ways. I'm not saying one person has to treat the other one amazing, but both of you should be making each other feel better all the time. Then marriage is worth it. Of course, marriage is not worth it if you're coming home busting your ass and your wife does nothing for you and doesn't make you feel good. You know, that's why guys don't want to get married, because we're putting in all this effort and we're still being men. We're still held accountable to be providers and protectors and everything. But the women are not held accountable to being nurturers, you know, and having a good feminine energy and taking care of the home space and bringing peace, not arguments, not aggression, peace in the house and relaxation and massages. That's what men want. Girls are not providing it, so that's why men are not, you know, wanting to get married. But you can find a good girl. They are out there.
Social media inflated egos and killed accountability. If someone thinks they're perfect already, why would they improve? That's why long-term value keeps dropping.
Where are all the good men? If you a good man, please step to the front. And if you wondering about us good women, we're around. I mean, we probably at home. We'll come out, do what we got to do. We mind our own business, and then we right back at home. So if you happen to run into one of us good women, you better think fast, okay? Because it might be a missed opportunity.
As a single woman, I'm getting a little worried when I scroll on this app that like all of the good single men, 30-year-olds and up, or near that range, they are, if they're single, they're staying inside and doing exactly what I would want to do, which is like binge a show and like order and take out. Like, why when I'm scrolling, I'm seeing all these like cute men who look like they have their head on their shoulders. They probably don't. Let's just be fucking real. But they're all like staying inside. Like, what I'm trying to do is text a girlfriend and be like, hey, you know what? Instead of me cuddling into bed and binging all of Real Housewives, let's go out. Because I'm just hoping that one day, like, I meet my husband, like, meet cute randomly. Like, I got to go out and do that, right? I have to, like, actually put myself out there. I have to actually do my makeup and, like, put on a cute outfit and do that, you know? Crazy concept. But I have a fear that all of the good single 30-year-old men are doing the opposite. Hey, get out there. Please. Stop ordering takeout by your fucking self and wait for me to be there with you to do it, okay? Fuck, literally, I don't... Probably gonna run into a douchebag. Pray for me.
Even she sees it. Men are staying inside. Why? Peace is predictable. Dating isn't. So they pick comfort over chaos.
You know, the reality is most guys nowadays have kind of given up on the idea of marriage because we realize that it's really just one big trap. There's nothing in it for us. We take all the risk and all the benefit is on the female side.
I would say, why change something that is good? You're in a relationship. Why are you going to get married? It's going to get worse. There's going to be more financial tension. Weddings are expensive as it is. Divorce rates are alarmingly high. And once you're married, you are at the mercy of that woman's expectations. Forget about that. Hell no.
Yeah, plus it's going to get to a point where you're both going to get bored of each other. She has the freedom to leave, but you don't.
No, I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be stuck and see my future with her and my future personally go down the drain. Pretty much, because she can screw you over at a snap of a finger.
Exactly.
Thank you all for sharing your stories, your perspectives, your thoughts on this. I've learned a lot in the past 7 hours. And in fact, I have done nothing but read comments for the last 3, and I actually can't keep up with them anymore. So I wanted to just give a read back on what it is I'm hearing so that you know you're heard. I think this is how green screens work. I'm new to TikTok. I don't know. This is my masterful diagram, and you can go ahead and make fun of me for it because I know you're going to anyway. Nothing particularly surprised me in the responses except for dismissal. This one was really eye-opening, and we'll go from left to right, so bookmark that for a moment. Overall, thank you for providing a very clear answer to my question, and it also left me with another question, a bigger question, which I'll save until the end. But the overarching consensus is that it's not worth it. It's not worth it. There is a low return on investment. The risk to reward profile is not worth it, especially because 50% of marriages end in divorce, and that is particularly unfavorable to men because 50% of assets, the court system skews more toward women, especially when it comes to things like child custody. Hand in hand with divorce was betrayal and heartbreak, and there were a lot of stories of people who had been cheated on, stories of men who their person, their wife, their girlfriend just got up and left. And so this was kind of within the context of a relationship, but then there was also this, which is just the general dynamic between men and women. So men feeling as though women hate men, men feeling rejected by women, and then men feeling dismissed, but specifically like around them trying to voice their opinions or their feelings and women just dismissing it. And what I found really interesting about that is that that's exactly what was happening in some of the comments. I will say very few women actually commented, even though they were watching and liking the video, and I think that's because we're listening. But there were absolutely some strays in the comments invalidating men's experiences and feelings. Within the last hour, more and more people were bringing up things relating to traditional values. And so I think what happened is TikTok started to push this more toward conservative Christian. And so people were talking more about the shift, we'll say, in Western values. I also find it super funny that the first video that kind of did some numbers the other day, it got pushed mostly to women and liberal. And today this got pushed entirely toward men for obvious reasons, but also conservative, like two totally different swaths of people. And I love that. I love that because I think we all need to get along better. And on that note, the undercurrent in all of this is fear. There's other things mixed up in there too, right? But it's interesting to me that fear underpins a lot of this, and it's the same thing for women, which tells me that, hey, we're not so different at the end of the day. And while this has answered my question regarding how men feel about marriage, it's given rise to a whole new question, which is, how do we heal the rift? Because I get that marriage is not essential and we can all find happiness and fulfillment and peace in our own company, and that's a wonderful thing. And at the same time, I feel like we're not actually happy with the state of things, especially judging by like the anger and the grief in the comments. So I don't know. I don't have any solutions at the moment. I'm still kind of in listening and digesting mode. But
Men are done pretending the deal is fair. High risk, low return. Once guys understand that, the motivation disappears.
Society we're creating right now, more and more men don't want to get married. And I get why. There is almost zero upside for men getting married. This isn't me saying that men shouldn't get married, or women, but think about what society is telling men about what being a man is. Tell about society is fucking men hardcore for getting married. If you get married and you get divorced, a woman takes 50% of whatever you have. 80% of relationships, the man is the biggest provider. So that's a big fuck right off the bat. What are you getting in exchange for that? Second, if you have kids with her, you're fucked, because the government doesn't think that you deserve shit. So even good dads who try to stay in the kid's life are fucked. So there's a lot of men going, why the fuck would I do this? The good news is that will correct itself, because eventually then people start going, oh, right? When you create mistakes, you only create more error. Error creates more error. So we've gone so far the other direction that more and more men are going like, why the fuck would I get married?
We just don't have a lot of faith in it. We don't. A lot of times when we get married, it's because our woman wants to get married. Let's just put it on the table. Most men don't wake up aspiring to be in a marriage. That's just not how that goes. Is we dating a woman, we love this woman, we can't picture life without this woman. She values marriage highly. We cool with it. Okay, let's go on and get married. A lot of times when we talk to people who've been married that long, a lot of times they bitter within their own goddamn marriage. Let's just put it on the table. You got guys saying, hey man, you can stay single as long as you can, man. When you're getting this, all that's gonna die down. All that little fun stuff y'all do, that's over with. That's the narrative that a lot of men is getting. right? It's not the, hey man, this is how you navigate through that. No, y'all can still be happy, but you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta communicate, you gotta be on the same page, you gotta leave your ego at the door. That's not the tutelage that a lot of us is getting. So a lot of us gotta find that out the hard way.
He nailed one thing. Most men didn't grow up dreaming of marriage. They accepted it. Now they're questioning it. Big difference.
So I would love to get married again, but now it seems like men don't want to get married anymore. Like, why is this?
I'm not even going to fiddle fuck around with this. I'm just going to give you the straight answer I hope you're looking for. And that answer is that there are two main reasons why men don't want to get married anymore. Now, both these reasons are based upon the man being successful, which is the kind of guy you ladies want to marry anyway. And those reasons are, one, it's statistically idiotic to do it. And two, a successful man gains absolutely nothing except risk by getting married. So let's quickly dive into each of them. So for one, it's statistically stupid for a successful man to get married. Because right off the bat, 60% of marriages end in divorce, with more than 85% of those divorces being initiated by the wife. And let's be real, not everybody who's unhappy actually gets divorced. So we could probably throw another 10% on top of that of people who just unhappy but stay together anyway. So that brings it to about 70% of marriages either end in divorce or stay married while they're unhappy. That's 7 out of every 10 marriages. Not to mention, on top of that, in cases where somebody's getting alimony, 97% of the time, it's the wife who's getting paid. Men receive alimony in only 3% of divorces. So statistically, it's fucking stupid. Like, would you do something that 7 out of every 10 times it's gonna end badly? Like, is there any activity where 7 out of 10 times there's a bad ending that I could convince you to do? Like, you gonna skydive with those odds? You gonna get on a train or a plane with those odds? I doubt that very much. And now to the second reason, being that a successful man gains absolutely nothing except risk by getting married. Now, women will argue with me on this and be like, well, he gets love, he gets caring, he gets me. Ladies, he already had that before he married you, or he never would have proposed. Like, are you telling me that before he married you, you didn't love him, you didn't care for him, you didn't cook, or you didn't clean, or you didn't show him affection? Are you telling me that you're waiting till marriage to sleep with him? I'm sure some of you are, but that's a tiny percentage. Yeah, so everything that he would get as a result of marrying you, he's already getting. So what does he get when he marries you? He gets risk. He takes the great relationship he had. He takes all the wonderful things, all the time you enjoy together. He gets to keep that, but now he's betting half his shit that it's going to work out. I'm going to say this right now. Marriages that stay together are not nearly as impressive as long-term relationships that stay together without marriage. Because even though a man may be unhappy in a marriage, it would be financially stupid a lot of the time for him even to get a divorce. Like, just the cost would be so unbelievably high. But people that are unhappy in a long-term relationship where they're not married, yeah, they can just break up. So when you stay together in a marriage, it's not always about love. When you stay together in a long-term relationship, that's because you care about each other. And let me just say that all this is coming from someone who would be perfectly fine getting married. But if you're going to ask why most men aren't interested in it anymore, it's because it doesn't make any fucking sense for a successful guy to get married. You just take all the wonderful things about a relationship and you fucking add risk.
He's blunt but clear. Successful men protect what they built. If marriage adds risk and removes control, they pass.
All right, gentlemen, it's an obvious statistical fact that 80% of divorces are filed by women. What's not a fact is why. The simple fact is it doesn't matter. People wonder why men don't want to get married anymore, and it's because the marriage rate is so unbelievably low and there's no benefit to it whatsoever for us. None. We don't have a better option to stay with our kids if we're married or not married. We don't have a more likelihood to get custody. Not whatsoever. We don't have a more likelihood to gain anything from marrying our partner. Just more to lose. In a system where you have a 20% success rate. Now, I realize that it's supposed to be 50% of all marriages end in divorce, but I'm pretty sure that statistic is wrong. And it is 80% of women filing divorces, and that number goes up depending on how educated a woman is. Now, why is that? Why does that happen? Because quite simply, women believe and are told and telling each other that they don't need men. And that may be true that you don't need a man to pay your bills and finances and things like that, and that's fine. But that's not how reality works, okay? You may not need men to do these things that they used to require, but you still need men, and that's the problem. And until you accept that fact, you're always going to be alone. That's it. You're always going to be alone. You need men. You need men to be there for you. You need men to support you. You need men to love you. You need men to care about you. That's what a heterosexual relationship is. You may not need him to pay your bills, and that's great. But you still need him. Funny thing is you don't hear men saying we don't need women. Because the truth of the matter is we know we do. And that's why women are filing for divorce, because they're telling each other they don't need men. So then they go out, you don't need him, you don't need a husband. Okay, well, I can get rid of him. Go out, have all this fun, hookup culture, and all this other stuff. Enjoy yourself, live your life, slay queen. And end up alone. With no one to care about you. When all you had to do was sit there and say, well, I don't need him financially, but I love having him around. I love spending time with him. I love the feeling I get when I'm with him and the appreciation that I put into him and the appreciation he puts into me. That's all it takes. But it's up to you. You don't need men. Then don't complain when you're in your 30s and 40s and men don't want you. It's that simple. You don't need men. We don't want you. Men like to feel needed. We like to feel appreciated. And in a society where we don't, why the hell would we want anything to do with you? It's not a complicated concept. If you just take 2 seconds to really think about it.
Respect and appreciation. That's the core. When men don't feel needed or valued, they disconnect. And once they disconnect, they don't come back. They chase hookup culture. They slay queen their way to loneliness. Then they're 40, alone, wondering what happened. Men like to feel needed, appreciated. In a society where they don't, why would they want anything to do with you? You don't need men. We don't want you. 10 clips. 1 message. Men are done. Women are confused. The retirement from dating and marriage is real, and it's accelerating. The system women built to benefit themselves has collapsed, and they're standing in the rubble wondering where everyone went. Men chose peace. Women chose chaos. Now women are alone. The Legion understands. Move out. This is Male Legion, where reality hits harder than a talk-talk breakup. Cheers.